Hello everyone and all you sewing bees, it's Chris here. I've got another little project. Well, it's quite a big project actually. It's my sofa. It's a leather sofa which I'll show you in a minute, and it's quite worn on the cushions now. I don't want to change it because I still have a dog and 2 cats and they're my fur babies and I allow them on the settee, so I'm going to recover it because on the cushions, as you can see, it's quite worn. So I'm going to cover these cushions, the seating, excuse me, and the backs of both settees. I'll take you through each stage and we'll see how it goes. See you later. To start with, when you have decided on which cushion you're going to do, look at the different shapes within the cushion. As you can see, I've drawn out very roughly, obviously, the different shapes to the seated cushion, and you've got your front and your back, and you've got the different panellings that go around the cushion, and then I write them up there. A means cushion 1, B means cushion 2, just so as I've got all the pieces. When you measure these out on your material, write down what they are, and then you know when you're coming to put it together where they go. It's just a little thing to note. Everyone does things differently, but that's how I do it, and I find it easy, and then I can refer to my little drawings as well with all the measurements on. Hi everyone, I've decided to go ahead with this line of the pattern going across. That's the first thing you need to do, because obviously when there's any type of pattern in it, you need to decide which way it's going to go. So we've gone for the going across. With that in mind, I then measured out my top and bottoms, which was 54 by 75. Then I added the 2 centimeters on. So I've just cut 2 pieces out now, 56 by 77, and that's those 2 pieces. I'll put it on top of the cushion just to check that it does fit. I always say measure twice, cut once as well. When I come to do the side panelling here, I noticed that I needed to make sure that when I cut it out, that the lines followed suit from the top, so that the lines would continue going down and not going across. So I've just cut the 2 side panels out now. Next thing I did was I cut out the panelling that goes all around the sides of the cushion, and made sure that the front part of the cushion, the pattern goes the same as the top. The sides I wasn't too fussed about because you're not going to see that anyway. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pin this panelling to the top of the cushion. What I've done now is I've attached the top piece to the side panels. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my zip and attach that to the material. I'll try and see if I can film that as I'm doing it, so you can see all the little bits and bobs. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this foot off, and I'm going to fit it with a zipper foot, because this basically enables you to get closer to the zip and make a neater finish. So the foot's fitted. What I've done is I've left a little bit at the top, and I've fitted it so that the needle is right next to the teeth of the zip, and I'm going to sew right along that. Okay, so I've attached the zip now to the material. Just word of warning, because my zips don't have fasteners at the end, what I do is I just put a back stitch along the edge here to stop the zip opening up on you. So I've attached this. What I'm going to do now is turn it round, open the zip up, and then I'm going to do a neat seam along the edge here. Now, it's very hard to do this with one hand. What I'm going to do, turn it the right way, sorry, I'm going to start from the top this time, and excuse me, I'll put the phone down a bit. So what I'm going to do is this time, when I put the zipper foot in, I want the actual foot nearer the teeth of the zip, and the needle is at the other edge, and this just gives a nice neat seam along there, plus it pushes the material up closer to the zip so that it hides the zip in the end. Okay, so what I've done now is I've done that neat sewing down the zip, and it holds the material in place and it keeps the material next to the actual teeth. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to attach the other side of the material to the other side of the zip. So when you come to do this, make sure that the two pieces of material, the edges are together and the side of the zip is at the side of your material, and then again you make sure that the needle is next to the teeth and you sew the zip onto the material. When you come to near enough the edge of your zip, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to lift the foot up in order to get the zip, if I can do it with one hand, I'll have a go, past the foot. That's pretty quite difficult, sorry for the wobbly camera work. So if I hold it with my little fingers, see, it goes past, fix your material, drop the foot again, and then sew to the end of the material. Just a notice, when you're actually sewing the bottom piece on to the top of the cushion, make sure you leave a gap in your, or open your zip up, otherwise you won't be able to turn it the right side out, which is what I'm going to do now, and I'll show you the finished cushion. Okay, that is the actual cushion made up. Zips in place. There's the bottom half. So I'll just go and put it onto the actual sofa now. I've come to do the backs. I've already covered one, and I have to say they are very fiddly, but I managed to get round it. I have done a good job, but I just want to show you the fiddly bits. As you can see, there's a curve here, and it's in two parts. But also, if I turn the, sorry about the camera work, if you look at it, it's actually on a slope, so the actual bottom slopes as well. And if I turn it round, I think you can get a better idea. So there's a lot of shapes going on here. So what I've decided to do, instead of putting the zip along this bit here, I've decided to put the zip along the back. There's where the cushions meet in the middle of the settee, along the side there, underneath, and that means that when I open the zip, I can get the actual widest part of the actual cushion out, because where they've got the zip, there's no way you can get the foam out of the material. Yep, so that's what I've done, and I'll see where I go from here. Right, so what I've done so far is I've got the front of the material, attached it to the top of the actual cushion. I fitted the zip. I did a longer piece that comes underneath the cushion, and I've fitted that in place. The next step I've got is this fiddly bit, and believe you me, it is very fiddly. Now what I've done is I cut the two pieces out at the widest part. So that's the top, and this is the bottom half. So that's the top bit of the cushion and the curved bit here. Okay, now as you can see, there's a huge bit hanging over. So what I do now is I pin this on here, and then what I can do is I can get the shape, fit it, draw the actual curve onto it, and then trim the material accordingly, and then I'll fit it all on by sewing it together. Right, what I've done now is I've used some little pins, and I've stuck it actually in the leather cushion so that holds the material in place while I get these fiddly bits done. I've pinned part of the, I call it the curved edge, part of it to the material. Now if you can see, we've got this excess here. Now what I'm going to do, you can actually see, because it's all nice and flat, you can see a distinct line appearing where the curve is. So what I'm going to do is get a rough guide going along and trim that off, and leaving enough for my seam, which is roughly about 1 centimetre. Okay, so I've drawn that in now. Basically all I did was I held it down, and you can see there's just over 1 centimetre from the top to there, and I'm going to cut that out, and then I'm going to pin the rest of this to it, and then I might need to trim a few little scragged edges off. Fiddly, yes or no, but this is what we have to do. Right, I've pinned all that in place now. As you can see, it's nice and tight on top. It goes down, so I've got enough for my seam on this edge. Pin that in place all around there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get another piece of material, fit it to the end of the zip, fit it to the end of this, and then I'm going to sew right along the seam round, and then that side's fitted. Okay, now I've sewn all that extra piece there, and I've sewn all around the edges now, and as you can see, that's starting to take shape with that tricky curve. So the next bit I've got to do now is attach the back, and again I'll have to do some trimming around this area once I've fitted it and pinned it. Right, the final stage, I've fitted the cover over the cushion. It's a nice snug fit. What the last thing I need to do is get this last curve sorted. So again, I just draw around where I can see the curve, leaving enough for my seam on the top bit and again on that bottom bit, and then I sew that up, and that should be finished. So I've drawn my curve in, so this bit here I'm going to cut it off, giving me the curved edge, and the same on the other side there. So I'm going to trim all them off, sew it all up, and then fit the cushion. Bit of a fiddle, but the backs have now been done. In fact, there's the whole of the settee now. See if I can get it at an angle. Oh, is Millie coming to join us? There's the whole of the settee now. So I'm quite pleased with the effect. Just got that one to do. Right, seats are finally done now. I'm very pleased with the outcome. No more worn cushions, that's the 3-seater settee. And it's very comfy to sit on now, no more cold leather. Although I did like the leather, I must admit, but this will do. Very pleased. I've done the zips down the side there, and they go all the way underneath, so you can get the very, very difficult shape. It was a nightmare to do that. So if you need to change your seats or your cushions or whatever, have a go, because if I can do it, I'm sure everybody else can. Thanks for watching.